Good morning. Welcome to April 21st, the community update. Really have a great update. Lots of great news today. A couple educational updates, and really want to share out some just positive stories that are happening around the district. And so, thanks for joining in. Thanks for being part of the conversation and sharing your comments and your questions on the attached document that comes out with this update. Again, the agenda is kind of a working agenda. As put it together as last minute as I can, and that's on purpose to try to be as relevant with information as we also can. And so that'll be pushed out to you and will be available on our website once we put some additional detail on it. The things that I talk about, that gets added to the agenda. So if you need the Cliff Notes version, then that's there for you as well. So our positive shout outs and the successes. And I think it's really important to start each day, each update with these types of things. There's a lot of negativity in the rest of the world. And even some criticism about why I'm sharing so many positive things. Just get to the facts. Well, I mean, if the negativity or if the positivity is not kind of what meets your needs during these updates, there's other options out there. I think Kelly and Ryan are on about this same time. Not that I compete with Ryan in any way. You can go chew and view whatever else that those shows are out there, or any number of talk shows, news shows are fighting over whether the Reds and the Blues are right and wrong. And so we're going to focus on the positives, and we're going to keep moving forward that way. And thank you for providing these things for us and for me, because these things are only as good as what you provide for me. So first, I'm going to one. It just came in at 8:57 this morning, and it's about music. And when we started thinking about online education and online learning, some of the subjects you think would translate much easier than others, and some of the performing subjects like music, especially in an instructional type of music, would be very difficult. But I got a great email this morning, just thanking the district, thanking the staff for staying in touch with the students and parents during this time of social distancing. Special shout out goes to Mrs. Verno and Miss Bud. Their daughter had decided to rent a trumpet for the first time to learn how to play during this time at home, in addition to playing her violin. We emailed Ms. Verno and asked her for recommendations on where to begin, and her response back gave some suggestions, but she also offered to have a few Google Meet lessons with her daughter to help get started. And they were amazed at the willingness to help to learn a new instrument. Both Ms. Verno and Mrs. Verno and Miss Bud met with their daughter to give the trumpet 101 basics. Heartwarming to watch and to hear the connection learning right in their home. So thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Campion for sending that forward. I definitely appreciate your feedback. I know that within our district, we're not necessarily fighting the coronavirus, but we do have our own version of heroes and that are making sure that we are able to meet our instructional and community obligations on a daily basis. And so the first shout out goes to our food service and our food distribution workers. And so very early in this process, they have been on the front line within the district. And again, not that I'm equating it to the same as far as working in ER rooms and things of that nature, but we do have folks that are out there on the front line, forward facing with the community. Many of our folks fall within the high level of risk categories, and so they've not missed a beat. And so I was able to get around to all of the sites yesterday. There's just such great stories that are happening out there, and the food service workers and the food distribution people that were thanking me for letting them do this work. Truly selfless in their actions. Secondly, we know that the personal protective equipment supply chain for masks is broken. We just can't find them anywhere. I'm going to a store, the shelves are empty. But that chain is not broken in Baldwin-Whitehall. And so bunches of shout outs for today. Our Baldwin High School teachers, Mrs. Fadiger, Mrs. Foofman, Miss Malone, Mrs. Foote, all made many masks over the weekend and supplied those to me on Sunday so we can outfit all of our essential workers so we didn't miss a beat. So thank you to them. Student John Scaretti continues to be just a machine cranking out the masks for us Really, John, you've been wonderful. I picked up another box from him last evening on the way home from work. John, you're amazing. Thank you for all that you have done for us. Again, an 11th grader just being truly, truly selfless during this time. And then also Jessica Carrick. Jessica, one of our parents, also owns a small business in the community and has reached out to me at the end of last week, asked how she could help. And she sent me an email over the weekend. I think it came in on Saturday and said, "Hi, Dr. Lutz, so sorry to bug you over the weekend, but I wanted to give you a quick update. I decided to get the community involved in helping to provide masks for the district. I created several mask designs, including the BW Strong, and shared them on my social media platforms. But what I did was say that for each mask sold, one will be donated back to the school district. I realized that there is just a huge need and want to donate as many as possible. So the masks which you're selling helps to offset the cost of the masks that she's donating. She made this sale live just 24 hours ago. At that time, she had sold 139, I guess, as of Saturday, received donations for an additional 15. She had already pledged 50 to come my way. And so as of Saturday, when she sent this to me, 204 masks that Jessica was going to be making for us. And so, Jessica, thank you so much. And again, between the efforts of internal and external to the district, we can continue to meet our obligations. And folks have asked, well, when do you have enough? And the question is, I don't know. I really don't know, because I didn't know 5 weeks ago where it would be now. We had a pretty good assumption. I think that the district and our planning and just the information that we used around our school closure was pretty solid, but no one expected us to be where we are now, and a mask requirement for everyone once you leave the house. And so whether this comes back this summer or whether it comes back in the fall, we will be ready. And so thank you for these folks who have really dedicated their hours away from their families to help the district just meet their obligations. Second shout out, a lunch pickup story. We know that the lunch provides great joy to many of our youngsters. So the thank you I have is thank you so much for taking time out of what seems to be an exhaustive schedule to go live with everyone each Tuesday and Thursday. Oh, you're more than welcome. It's my pleasure to be on here. But when people talk about the new normal, you become part of ours. Boy, I don't know about that. Please continue to use this platform for the future after we are all freed. But you want to give an update about an additional shout out, because can never hear too many things, and this person's exactly right. Yesterday, we went to pick up lunch at the Baldwin Library location. It was our first time picking up at any location. After the GPS took us on quite the tour of Baldwin to the wrong location, and because they're new to the area, we made it to the right place. My fifth grader was thrilled for the lunch and the breakfast, but even more to see Mrs. Mainerich, a Whitehall lunch aide, dressed up in a pizza outfit, mask and all. To be able to see her and chat with her just made the whole day. And honestly, we had to have large restraint to not get out of the car and give her a big hug for going so far and above and beyond. Excuse me. Please thank her for her efforts. We're doing that right now. So Amanda, thank you so much for your efforts, and thanks to all that have made the expanded lunch program a reality. It's truly appreciated. And she had sent some pictures. I'll make sure that we post those pictures as well with the pizza outfit. And this parent had gone on just to thank us for our continued effort. But the last comment really makes it worthwhile. So much of this is worthwhile, but so thankful to have joined Baldwin Whitehall when we moved in from rural Michigan this year. It truly has been one of the best things that they've done this year. So that really makes us feel good about what we're doing and able to serve. When we're all done with this, we're not going to remember what the math lessons are or the language arts lessons. No offense to our math and language arts or social studies or science teachers out there. What we're going to remember is how we treated each other, the things that we did during this time, and the memories that were made. And so all of these things are memories, and I really appreciate you sharing them with me. Next item, a little bit of news from Harrisburg. A couple items, and these are a bit controversial, but I want to talk about them. The first is some conversation there and some legislation that kind of keeps going back and forth around the idea of freezing school property taxes. So House Bill 974 included provisions to freeze all property taxes for the 2020-2021 school year. It was withdrawn as of last evening for lack of votes, but it does some things and it doesn't do some other things. And I think that I want to talk about this a little bit, and it's no one's desire to increase taxes. It's no one's desire to increase costs for folks. It's probably the most challenging time any of us have seen. Um, but what this bill does is it restricts the local authority of school boards. School boards are elected to serve you as the taxpayer, you as the community. They make decisions based upon your needs within that community, within our community. We fully expect this year to have reductions in state revenue. We fully expect to have reductions in federal revenue, and we are going to work on our budget forward and backwards, up and down, to see where we can shave costs. But the challenge is, and we know that, is that we are growing as a district. We have facilities that need attention, and so um, I would I have encouraged our legislators to please just wait and not support something without having a clearer picture. That doesn't mean we want to go a certain direction or we don't want to go a certain direction, but until we know a clearer picture about what all the pieces of the budget may look like, because collection rates, folks are going to struggle with collection. We know that the earned income taxes are going to be down. Those are things that we are fully expecting. So until we can get a better picture of all the different pieces and parts, we are just pleading with our representatives just to hold off, and maybe look at the entire budgeting process at the state level differently. Normally, everything has to be wrapped up by June 30th. So much is going to be unknown by June 30th. Is there opportunity to reopen budgets in the future within the year? Usually, you lock it up by June 30th, and that document lives as it is all the way through the following June 30th. Maybe that's not the answer this year. So much more to come there, but please understand that we're just hoping to get a better and a clearer picture of everything. Governor's actions on Monday, there were a lot. First, these seem to be kind of curious connections, but state stores and notaries and online car sales all opened up at the same time, or will be opening at the same time. Maybe it's just me, but that's an odd combination. But state stores with online sales, notaries, and then of course online car sales to try to get some of that business opened back up, absolutely makes perfect sense. And then some of the construction jobs across the region can also open back up. The governor extended the stay-at-home order until May 8th. We know that, and that was released yesterday. And so I think Pennsylvanians, and especially Baldwin-Whitehall residents, have been doing a fantastic job at staying home and wearing their masks. So thank you for helping us to get back to normal as soon as that we can, by doing the right things now. In addition, the governor late yesterday signed Senate Bill 841. It's now considered Act 15. Basically, the bill addresses additional healthcare issues related to the pandemic, and also addresses some educational financial issues related to the disaster emergency. Those things are specifically the tax payment discount. So it provides property tax relief by allowing districts to waive late fees and penalties for property taxes paid by December 31st. Educational tax credits. The bill extends the deadlines for business entities to qualify for tax credits on contributions through the EITC program. And then also for third-party contractors within schools, for like physical therapy and occupational therapy. It did what Act 13 did for districts that had transportation providers to allow us to renegotiate the contracts. One issue that we have in this particular area is, in many cases, the Baltimore School District employs their own employees and do not have many third-party contracts. We do have some in the area of physical therapy and occupational therapy, but for things like transportation, we've been very proud to have our own fleet, our own employees from the very beginning. And so those changes don't really affect us all that greatly. And there was also a veto on Senate Bill 613 that the bill would have required the governor to provide a timeline to mitigate business shutdowns in the Commonwealth. And so we know that there's been a lot of protest within local, state level about the shutdown, and differing philosophies or ideologies about what's the best path to move forward. And so the governor's been taking a pretty strong stance on those types of things. So related to the state level financial outlook, and we know it's bleak, the Baldwin Whitehall School District financial outlook, and just to do a little bit of summary on this, because we know in May it is budget season. Actually, April usually starts us with budget season, and Mr. Cherpak and his team have been really working hard on putting some numbers together. We'll be sharing those numbers with the board later this month, and in May we'll be moving forward with the proposed final budget. So Act 13 of 2020, what did that do? The Act 13, when that came out a few weeks back, it maintained all personnel costs throughout the school district. So basically, whoever was being paid continues to be paid. And so about 80%, at least 70+% of any school district budget is personnel related. And so a lot of those costs are fixed. And so there's not a lot of wiggle room on things that you can have the ability to change. We will see some facility savings because the education is happening at home. And so buildings are not being heated or cooled and the lights aren't on as much, even though we do have some folks that are in, and other types of utility savings. But any types of those savings are really going to be largely offset by increased technology costs, because we know we shifted to an online programming within a very short period of time. And so there have been increased technology costs with that. But we're in a much better position than in most school districts. Many school districts do not have any type of reserves to pull upon. Baldwin Whitehall does have a very positive fund balance. We have enjoyed, through a lot of hard work, recent budgets have all been balanced, so we've not pulled from that fund balance to help balance recent budgets in order to stay solvent and to stay in a strong position. So our audits have been strong, our fund balance is strong. Of course, we need to mitigate any type of operational shortcomings this year, and we'll work hard to do that. But we're in a better position than many districts that just simply do not have any type of reserves to pull from. Staffing for this year is going to be a challenge. We're a growing district. Enrollment continues to grow each and every year. We know that we have 9 retirements, but all those 9, we expect to have to replace all of those folks. The positions are needed where these folks are stepping aside and choosing retirement. But we're also, because of the increased enrollment, we're expecting to add at least 12, right now the number is 12 and a half, additional teaching faculty, and that's strictly related to enrollment growth across the district. So we'll continue to work those numbers and see where we end up, but there's just increased cost with that. The facility upgrades, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, we started with phase 1 work last year with the mechanical systems and so forth at Whitehall, McAnally, and Harrison. Phase 2 work that we just opened the bids and had the initial construction meeting yesterday, prepping for the painter movement into Harrison and creating a couple additional spaces inside of that building. But of course, phase 3, which we still want to move forward with because of the PlanCon timelines, which I've talked about at different times here, that painter replacement project is still important to move forward because the building is not in any better shape than it was when we stopped using it about 5 weeks ago. And then, of course, the standard increase of cost for nearly everything else. So, but I want to start with or end with where I started. We're in a much better position than many districts. There are some districts that are going into a budget season with no reserves, or they're borrowing money to make payroll. And so, because of you on the students and the programs that we do provide, so that's a credit to you. An equity grant update. We'll know final numbers tomorrow because this information is largely being embargoed. The state's word for this, not mine, until the 22nd, which is tomorrow. But the equity grant was a competitive grant, or is a competitive grant across the state. All districts and charter schools were able to apply for the money. Yes, that pause was intentional and maybe out of a little frustration. But there was $5 million in that pot of money. 500 schools plus charter schools were able to apply that were eligible. We applied for a grant total of $228,300. The funds are to be used, if successful, to increase access to the internet for students and to increase our access to devices, along with professional development for teachers. If and when this happens again with a school closure because of the virus, we want to be in a position much better than we were this time. We know that many families are sharing devices at home. Multiple kids are sharing devices between a parent and a child, because we pushed out everything that we had that was still usable. So these funds will go a long way, if successful, to meeting those needs. So if you think about it, we represent about 1/5 of 1% of all eligible entities that can apply for the money. Our application represents about 4% of the total grant. And while I know we're talking amongst friends and the information is embargoed until tomorrow, I feel really, 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 really good about this grant. That's all I can say. But thanks to Andrea, Marissa, Jill, and Janine Paradin, who worked on this grant. My central office team, they're the best. And as you know, Dr. Paradin's been off on maternity leave and has been really stepping up to help us on these types of things. And so I will know more, and I can confirm on Thursday in our update, but I feel really, really good about this grant. And we'll leave it at that because the information is embargoed, of course. All right, so our review of plan instruction, the model. Some week one highlights. There's some great stuff happening out there. In fact, this afternoon I'll be doing an interview with the Perbolite. They're asking about what the highlights, and of course any lowlights or concerns that we have. But there's a lot of highlights. I've been able to jump into a variety of the classrooms that teachers have been hosting. There's really some great things happening. Is it an equal alternative to the in-face instruction or the on-site instruction that we normally have? Of course, it's not. If it was equal, then we would have selected this model years ago. We do school the way we do it because it's more about the face-to-face sometimes than it is about the content. But there's a lot of great instruction happening. I jumped into again a few different lessons, and then even hearing the stories that are coming out. Are there concerns? Absolutely. Scheduling concerns, classes that have overlapped, classes that have run long, or cause kids to have to make choices between one or another. Typically, that's at the secondary level. Not so much happening at the elementary because of the homeroom teacher structure, but we'll continue to work on that. The feedback is much appreciated, so please keep pushing that forward. But with your feedback, we also want to make a minor adjustment in the weekly schedule. We've heard you when you said that students or your children are overwhelmed at times. That the instruction that's scheduled to take maybe no more than an hour a day is taking 2 or 3. You're trying to share computers. You're trying to still make sense out of this world that just defies any kind of sense making. So we want to adjust our schedule. So the weekly schedule starting next Monday is going to be like a 4+1 model. And you'll get this in writing as well. So Monday through Thursday, you'll have 4 days of planned instruction. So whether it's evens or odds, 2 days of each. That's Monday through Thursday. On Friday, we're looking and we plan to institute a flex Friday type of model. So we're going to focus on review, enrichment, reteach, consultation, those types of tasks explicitly on Fridays, not for old information, but for the pertinent, relevant information that was taught that week. Fridays can also be a due date when things are assigned, because we've heard that sometimes the due dates are overlapping and it's making it tough on students. And so it gives 4 days of instruction, 1 day you could say to catch up, to maybe provide some better timing, or to just have teachers focused more on the support instead of the instruction on that particular day. So why after 1 week are we changing already? Because I think it's an opportunity that we have heard your concerns. We want to be preventative. We could wait until kids are frustrated. I think right now our kids are challenged. But I don't want to reach a level of frustration. Frustration means we waited too long. So if it's preventative planning to avoid hitting the wall for some students, and we've heard that. There have been some students that right out of the gate on day 1 or day 2 of the closure, way back on March 16th and 17th, they started on 5 days a week of planned instruction. And for them, maybe it worked. But what I've heard from many of those districts moving forward is at about the 4th week, kids were hitting the wall. And so many of those districts instituted a flex day, whether that's midweek, end of the week, it doesn't matter. They've instituted that already. And so just thinking about where our kids are now and where we want to be come June, I think this is the prudent opportunity to make sure we're meeting your needs. Question has come up around access to schools, and we do have a specific plan in place. We're going to be in the buildings over the first couple of weeks in May, so May 1st to the 16th. They're going to be gathering any instructional materials or equipment that they need to continue the instruction throughout this semester. But they're also going to be prepping for summer cleaning, packing up their rooms, and preparing all the student materials that essentially have been left behind. Once that task is done, we will make sure that there's opportunity for the kids to come and get their materials, um, and that'll happen after May 16th. Or with one exception, if there are medicines or time-specific items that you need out of the schools, please contact the teacher and ultimately the principal to make specific appointment opportunities set up for you. And so we can make those arrangements, but we need to limit those just if there's medications that are in the nurse's office that you may need access to, or if there's anything that's time-specific that waiting until May just simply would be a disadvantage. Let's make sure we're not talking about the book bags or the jackets and things of that nature, but because I really don't want to open up the buildings too early to institute or to let in any type of risk or virus. We will be working on with personal items, clearing out lockers and desks, collections of any type of school-owned materials that'll come later. One challenge at the secondary will be is not all teachers have combinations of locks or have the physical key for the locks. I know that some teachers have pushed out requests to gather those types of things, especially if it's combinations and they can be communicated and opened. But we're going to err on the side of just moving forward. And if locks are on lockers and we do not have the combinations, the risk of having people come in and to be all through the building is just too high. And so we will take measures to remove the locks, and then we'll have to just deal with that issue later. So if that creates any type of concern from your part, I apologize in advance. But the risk of having of all students coming in to try to take the locks off first, it's just too high. End of year planning just continues to be of critical importance. And even when I was prepping this agenda today, Mrs. Lutz has a lot of photos sitting around in the office at home, and looking at some of those things. 4 years ago, I had an opportunity to hand Carly her diploma, and it was great. It was really great. And the entire class of 2016, who I just from growing up with the kids, got a chance to do that work and to hand out those diplomas. Jen and I made a promise to each other a long time ago, and I'm going to stick to it because we're going to have that opportunity to hand out that diploma. I'm not sure when it's going to come, but we're going to do that. And the class of 2020 deserves it. So please know that the end of year planning is very, very critical to me. It's very, very important to me, and we will absolutely do what's right for kids. And you do have my word on that. I'm going to shift over to questions, and let me scroll down to the end of the page. I'm sorry, we're at 33 pages now, so we may need to start indexing this a little bit better. All right, here we go. First question, is there a date that we can get medicines from the nurse? So again, please just based upon how important those things are, just let your principals know and let your teachers know, and we'll get that stuff to you. We know that getting prescriptions filled and that type of thing can be a real challenge now. So we want to try to help you as much as we can. So please reach out, let us know what you need, and we'll do our best to get that for you. Second question is the conversation about getting things from the lockers, but discussion how the kids can get their things back to the school. Absolutely. Please know we are not trying to balance your budget on overdue library books. So we're going to be okay there. Just hold on to it, and we will make sure that we set up some planning to get that stuff back in. We just want to make sure that you're kept safe and that our employees stay safe. Third question, can parents of high school students take attendance for their own child? My first answer is simply yes, because ultimately that happens at the elementary. I mean, if where attendance is taken when the children are younger, I mean, there's more of an onus on the child or on the parent than there is on the child. This parent gave an example. My son was marked absent because he believes he must not have pressed submit. Okay, and so he was marked absent for the day, but he did all the work. So can parents actually take attendance? Yes, as a parent, you have the ability to speak for your child. If child's under the age of 17, of course, you're speaking for the child. We ask that you be honest. If your child's attending, mark then the mark as such. If your child cannot attend or cannot complete the work, then indicate that as well. But absolutely, as parents, you have parental rights. So please proceed. Someone thanking for the communication form, you're more than welcome. Fifth question, when the students were all sent home initially, we were given access to utilize ABC Mouse via the district. Kids are loving it. I want to know if anyone knows how long the access is for the district. There are a lot of these types of tools that I actually do have a bit concern of, because many tools that the cost has been taken away, and so they've been provided free for the district. For example, just Pennsylvania School Board Association, just yesterday I got notification that Zoom is provided to the districts free of charge for the upgraded level. So my concern is moving forward, we're all going to get hooked on these really cool tools, and then when the cost comes back, then we'll be scrambling to figure out how to pay for it. So I'll get an answer to number 5. I don't know the answer, but that is pretty common, that because of this, a good business plan for these companies has been to take off any type of restrictions or limits and open up the floodgates to these tools. But I do expect the other shoe to drop at some point, and the cost will come back. Question 6, is there a way to see the overall GPA for high school students on the report card? They seem to have been cut off at the bottom on the app. That out. I don't know the answer, but I'll get Miss Kathy Jones on that one, and we'll check that out. 7, a solution to previous comments about keeping track of everything. I'm a teacher in another district. Our student lesson plan for the entire week is on Google Classroom by 8 a.m. every Monday morning. It lists goals, learning activities, assignments, assignment due for every day of the week. Our students have every subject every day, like a normal day of school. We do not do even and odd, and we do regular grading. Students know starting every Monday by 8 a.m. what assignments, quizzes, tests are due, and how to submit for the entire week. I appreciate the suggestion. I think there are a lot of models out there. If this model works for this particular district, then that's wonderful, and I'm happy that things are moving forward. We've chosen to institute a different model, and I stand by the educational ministers that have pushed this forward, and we've made this our own as far as every other day. Maybe some of the hiccups that we're experiencing are some of the time frames and the overlapping schedules, but we will work through it. When you realize today is basically we're only in day 7 of this model, and so some classes have met 3 times. The other one this is only the 4th time for meeting, and so a lot of new things are happening, and we'll make sense of it. News about the Jocelyn orders. Yes, I had that news just here the other day from Mr. Harold. The cap and gown is scheduled to be mailed to your home. The cap and gown is scheduled to be delivered to the school and prep for graduation. And so if there's any change in that, let me see if I can find that text message from Mr. Harold now. But the cap and gown was to be delivered to the school. Everything else was, there it is. Caps and gowns are scheduled to be sent to the school. Everything else should be delivered to the homes, unless or changes are made to the commencement. Caps and gowns are still to be sent to the school. And our plan is to still hold commencements. And so, as you know, we pushed out the July date, and if not, we'll push out. We already have that August date pushed out. And so, any student has not yet ordered a cap and gown should contact Jostens or reach out to Dr. Harold, directly at dharold@bwschools.net if they have any questions. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for that information. Appreciate it. Is there a consistent attendance daily deadline across the board? And honestly, there hasn't been, because I think the needs at each level are different. Generally, the children at the high school, and maybe a little contrary to the comment that came up a little bit before, but generally the high school kids are able to sign in earlier. But for the elementary kids, it might be more parent dependent and work schedules. We're trying to be accommodating to parents because of the needs that are out there. And so to have a specific deadline, that's going to meet our needs. That'd be easy. I could say noon everybody, doesn't matter, period. That's it. that doesn't meet your needs. And so I'll take that hit. We're not going to institute a very a standard measure on that one because I don't think it doesn't meet your needs. I did skip one in regards to the signs for seniors. Is someone delivering those, or the students need to come and pick them up? No, what I want to do is have the kids come, or I'm sorry, the faculty come and deliver those. And once we get a timeline as to when they're coming in and when they're going to be delivered to us, I want to put a plan in place where out of respect for the seniors, we want to come to you. We will respect whatever distancing that we need to respect, but out of respect to the seniors, that would be a nice tribute to you, and we will come to you. 9 and 10, when will students be getting their caps and gowns? And again, once we know more about the actual date of commencements, but Dr. Harold just gave some of that feedback there. And yes, fingers crossed that they do happen. Number 11, can high school teachers make a Google Meet mandatory? And what about when they are scheduled simultaneously to one another? And why should a student in high school have to choose which points to lose? That's a great point. Again, when we get questions like this or comments like this, we push them forward to the administration, and we try to deconflict these types of things. We are asking that there is synchronous instruction. We do ask that all students attend and participate in all the instructions. So yes, there are mandatory lessons, and so we have to deconflict those. So thank you for that comment. What about the eighth graders fun things this year, like eighth grade formal dance, history trip, camp, souls, awards nights? Is there a possibility of those things made up of eighth grade promotion? Those things are very important. Camp Souls has been a rite of passage around here forever, 50 years probably. The formal dance, history trip, some things that cannot be made up because there's not the opportunity to reschedule them, and it's going to continue to be very difficult. But where we can make things up, or where we can hold things virtually, even though it's a very poor alternative, we're looking at doing those types of events. 13, will spring sport varsity athletes be able to receive letters and pins? They practiced for a month, made the varsity team, had scrimmages until the spring season was canceled. Between Mr. Saris, Mr. Tomaszewski, and myself, we have begun those conversations, looking at how we can honor those children. Yes, their season was cut critically short, but what can we do? Ultimately, letters and pins are a local decision. There's no guideline that you have to meet X amount of criteria to have a pin or a letter. So we are working through those things now. I don't want to release any information prematurely, but again, the mantra that I've been adopting this year is do no harm. And so where we can err on the side of a child, we absolutely will. Instead of even odd in a new flex system, could it be just Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday for every week, more consistent? I'll take that back to the team. And again, as we're rolling this out, if that makes more sense, then again, we can get that guidance to you. Thanks for that feedback. Will there be opportunity to pick up senior banners? Absolutely. And so we want to get those out to you as well. So the things that we're putting together for the kids, whatever happens to be there. I heard something the other day from Mr. Sinning that there's golf equipment over at Wallace. So we are working on all of those things to try to get those back in a very low risk manner. So thank you for that feedback. I do appreciate that. All right. Just a couple positive send-offs, and tying these a little bit closer to my own personal experiences. And the first, I'm going to refer to this young lady as Miss K, and just to protect her identity and not to incriminate her. But the other day I got some feedback from her mom that I was doing one of these sessions, and young Miss K came running into the room, eager to talk to her superintendent, because that's how she refers to me. Mom, that's my superintendent. And really with her mom's permission, and we got a chance to talk, and it was really rewarding for me. She said some really positive notes, and you know when the timing is right. And again, the things that we're focusing on about the personal approach is really important. So to Miss K out there, yes, I am your superintendent. You will always be one of my kids, and it was great to talk to you the other day. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to see Officer Dave and Mrs. Artman walking around Whitehall School, and smiling Officer Dave, and nothing seems to rattle you, sir. So thank you for all that you do. You could not have been more complimentary of the things that are happening in the district. It's just been a joy to work with you for nearly all of my time here within the district. I've known you, and we work closely with DARE and teen centers and everything else. So Officer Dave and Mrs. Artman, it was great to see you yesterday. Truly my pleasure to be able to work with you and be partners in this for a long time. And then also yesterday, I got the opportunity to do some community rounds, and I went to all the lunch sites. And I think it's important for us to continue to have perspective, and during this time to again pay attention to the little things. Maybe take the road less traveled. It's easy to drive, for me, up and down Churchill Avenue, Brownsville Road, make the right on Curry Road, and I'm to the office. I think it's really sometimes important to make those lefts and rights off of the main roads, and to continue to get the perspective of what our district looks like in total. I had that opportunity to do so a little bit more yesterday, and to see how some of our folks and some of our children, how they're living, where they're living, and what their opportunities look like. We don't have to go far. One end of our district to another, it's a little over 5 miles. We're in a really good position. We have accessibility to our kids. We have proximity to our kids. I talked to Superintendent Buddies the other day that their districts cover 400 square miles. We're talking about 11. That we have 11 or 12 square miles, but 400 square miles, and there's 25 or 30 miles in between buildings. We talk about long bus rides now. Think about what that bus ride would look like. But taking time to, whether it's when we're doing our walks through the community, and instead of just focusing on the ground in front of us, taking a look at our community and paying more attention. And again, maybe making that left or right turn off of the normal path in which we ride or we drive, and to take a look around us, and sometimes just to pause and remember the little things. And we are a very, very lucky community. So with that, I thank you again for great feedback. Please continue to stay safe, continue to be kind, and I'll change the end. Wear your mask. Great. Have a great day. Thank you.